Hello everyone, it's Imran here. Welcome back to another video. Hope you really enjoyed yesterday. Hope you also had a nice Christmas video, family. I certainly did. And yeah, that's basically what I got to say. Just thought I'd say that right there. Today I'm going to react to a video that I'm pretty sure you pretty much all wanted me to react to since it premiered 20 hours ago. I was hoping to react to it yesterday, or maybe it's a bit of a treat for Christmas it was, but wasn't meant to be. I'm going to react to another video from Carson's Video Workshop, and this one is the longest video they've done on the channel so far, clocking at over 35 minutes exactly, called The Jury. Now, this has been teased for quite some time, ever since I last reacted to the last video, which was Stop and Smoke Thomas's. Once he managed it out, by the way, have that in the top right corner of your screen. That this video has been teased. It has been teased for quite some time. You know, I could already tell by the behind the scenes that this was going to be what was I going to say? Was going to be quite a big video. It was judging from what was being teased, and boy oh boy, just seeing from that thumbnail and from the time length and from the little preview I just saw right there, it is going to be a hell of a big one. I love the video workshops videos, the Carson's video work, the videos that Carson and his guys come out with, and yeah, and this is obviously written by DCG12B. I did react to his Thomas Duck and the Snowman video thing just before on Christmas Eve. I did. Make sure you see my that out if you haven't done already. And I'm reacting to another one of his stories as well. Yeah. Just can't wait for the story. Just can't wait. So basically, a runaway train causes havoc for our friends, and all eyes turn to Diesel, whose involvement in it raises more questions than answers. So I thought it was going to be something based around set during, the events of the Duck and the Diesel engine saga, while Duck was away at Edward's station and Edward tries to figure out what happened with Duck. But no, this is going to be a standalone story. It is. It's going to feature Bear as well. There was a sneak peek for him, and yeah, just judging from the, like I said, judging from the thumbnails, the sneak peeks, this video is going to be really, really good. It is. This is going to be the only video that I react to today because it's over half an hour long. So I'm not going to ramble anymore. Let's watch this video. Link to I'm reacting to in the description down below as always. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time and get straight into The Jury. Oh, it crashed into Percy, it did. Oh dear.
The rain battered Edward the Blue Engine as he puffed along the main line.
Oh, it's hyped up.
The storm had raged across the island for a week, making life on the railway difficult. The trucks had been troublesome too. They hadn't wanted to venture out in such awful weather. This made him late heading to the big station. Edward didn't mind though. With every wheel turn, he grew more and more excited. The Fat Controller had just finished work on a new engine shed, and there was to be a special train of enthusiasts to take pictures of all the steam engines. The Fat Controller had just finished work on a new engine shed, and there was to...
This is kind of like a hybrid Tidmouth sheds, it is. It doesn't replace the original, but the two is Tidmouth sheds, the original and this one are going to... What is it recording? Yeah, it is. Is going to be kind of coexisting, so a bit of like a hybrid.
There will be a special train of enthusiasts to take pictures of all the steam engines to celebrate its grand opening.
There's Gordon.
On his return journey, Edward was stopped at the junction, and soon Bear roared through with his coaches. The Fat Controller was on board. They were on their way to the mainland and would be back in the morning with the enthusiast special. Edward whistled cheerfully and set off again. As he approached his station, he was surprised to see the breakdown cranes hard at work on the line. Trucks lay at odd angles and coal was everywhere. He surveyed the scene as he passed by cautiously. "What happened here?" he murmured. That afternoon, Edward was still concerned when he returned to his station. Boko was shunting the cranes into the yard. Before he could ask anything, Boko huffed indignantly. "It isn't fair. They're going to send him away." "Whom do you mean?" "It's Diesel. Percy had a bad accident at your station today, Edward, and James says he saw Diesel push some trucks into him. Since the Fat Controller is away, the inspector is in charge and he's decided to send Diesel away. He'll be back on the mainland before the morning." "You must be able to persuade the inspector to think otherwise," asked Boko. "It all seems incredibly unnecessary." "The evidence seems clear. I can't change that," sighed Edward sadly. "But is it? The facts have not been fully explored." "Who cares?" shouted Bill. "He's had it coming for ages," added Ben.
Oh, Bill and Ben
"That
not
doesn't
holding
mean the
back.
inspector has any right to be so harsh on him," explained Boko. "He's changed a lot over the years. He deserves a fair trial." Edward considered the case. "I'm off to take Rosie's train while she's at the works. Please, Edward, show a little kindness on Diesel." And then, in a quiet, hurt voice, added, "I thought this mistrust of Diesel's was behind us." Boko rolled away.
Boko feels hurt by the accusations, he does.
The other Diesel engines thought Diesel's punishment was too harsh and called for the decision to be reconsidered for when the Fat Controller returned to the railway. But it fell on deaf ears.
Oh, the inspector's not having any of it.
Edward could hardly take notice of the grand new sheds as he puffed crossly in. Engines were huddled in corners whispering. Percy was surrounded by workmen as the inspector was telling them what to do. Worst of all, James was saying loudly to anyone who would listen that Diesel would finally be gone soon, much to the delight of the bigger engines. Edward looked at each face around the turntable. He was disappointed to see not a single Diesel engine had been summoned to fight for Diesel's cause. He whistled loudly. "We must discuss Diesel," he said firmly. "Inspector, I don't believe you have all the facts, and that I would like to deliberate over everything with my friends here." The inspector, who was already late for his tea, hesitantly agreed. "I'm in charge whilst the Topham Hatt is away," he said bluntly.
Oh.
"You have until first light to convince me not to send Diesel away forever." He slammed the shed door closed behind him. Everyone puffed up to the edge of the turntable and glared at Edward. "Right, let's get this started then," grumbled Henry. "The facts are clear," began Gordon. "Our poor Percy was forced off the rails by Diesel's reckless behaviour. James is our witness and saw Diesel there, and then caught him fleeing the scene." "Exactly," agreed James. "Are we all clear about what happened and agree that Diesel is the culprit?" The engines did.
Wow.
"That's settled then." "No, it is not. I don't agree." "What? I beg your pardon?"
Gordon's face.
"Don't you believe he hurt me, Edward?" "I don't agree."
Wow, did you see that
"What?
face?
I beg your pardon?" "Don't you believe he hurt me, Edward?" whimpered Percy sadly. "I'm afraid not. I believe the trucks did. but not under the guidance of Diesel. "What is the meaning of this?" snorted Gordon. "Explain yourself." "I believe this is not a fair trial," said Edward calmly. "You all possess resentment towards Diesel for his past grievances, and for good reason," burst out Duck. "But do not let this cloud your judgment on the facts presented to us.
Oh, did you see
Diesel's
Duck's
life
face?
may very well hang in the balance. We all know what will happen to Diesel if he is exiled to the mainland." "He'll be fine." "But what if he's not?" interrupted Oliver. "I couldn't live without my conscience if I sent Diesel away to be scrapped." "Diesel didn't think twice about scrapping you," huffed Douglas. "But that was a different time," said Toby. "And besides, that wasn't Diesel personally." "Enough! We are digressing about matters that are irrelevant." "I saw the whole thing." "No, you didn't," objected Edward. "You were flagged down after the accident. So how did you see
Oh.
Diesel push Percy off the rails?"
See,
"Well,
James can't.
I didn't see that particular part of the crime. But I did see him run away." "Indeed. Innocent engines don't just run away," puffed Thomas. "Only those that have something to hide," added Henry. Emily interjected. "Well, maybe he thought you'd all prejudge him. I can see at least 8 engines here that would do that without a reason."
Oh.
The engines began to grumble. "Nonsense! She makes a perfectly valid point. Accusing us of prejudice? No better than you accusing Diesel." "Let us take a vote," announced Edward. "All in favour of guilty, please sound your whistle. And all those in favour of innocent." "Oliver," gasped Duck. "After all Diesel did to me, that was years ago. You must learn to put the past behind you." "I have." "Betrayer! Nothing of the sort. He's allowed his own opinion, Gordon." "I don't think Diesel did it." "No one saw him do it, just that he was there." "Rubbish! Of course he did," cut in Henry. "I saw him a few hours before being careless with the trucks. Bumping them about, he looked in the right frame of mind to run anyone off the rails." "We all get like that sometimes with the trucks," admitted Thomas. "That's nothing new there." "Are you sticking up for him?" "I'm only making a point. Besides, nearly all of us bump our trucks to make them behave. What's to say Diesel wasn't just doing that?" "Because all Diesels are devious," grunted Douglas. You can't trust them," agreed Donald. "What year are we in? Who's rattled your bell? Have we decided to go back in time and undo everything we've built with our Diesel companions? Or are you all just shallow?" "Toby!"
Toby, they're all making fair points. Can I just say something? Everyone is making fair points right here. This is so much of kind of a different story right there. The fact that Oliver's taking Edward's side, saying he doesn't believe Diesel did it, saying that no one has the facts and no one should jump to conclusions.
"No, Diesels are devious. Some of them are our closest and most loyal of friends. Mavis has been nothing but an exceptional friend to me, and there are plenty of others like her and many of you.
How's his face? Look at his face.
There's Boko and Daisy and Bear to name but a few." The engines thought for a moment. "They've helped us through many situations. Of course, there are those we don't see eye to eye with, but that's the beauty of having different personalities. Diesels are like us. There are those who are kind and endearing. Then there are those who are pompous and insufferable." "Right you are, Toby," reconsidered Donald, "and we take back what we said. But we still didn't reveal why young Diesel was bumping those trucks." "I know the freight diagrams, and Diesel was bumping coal trucks. He wasn't rostered to pull them." "But Diesel is a shunter. Maybe he was preparing the train. And maybe he stole it to run our wee Percy off the rails." "Taking something that's not yours. Sounds familiar, murmured Thomas.
Missing coach
Remember
reference.
my special coach? The twins looked hurt.
Oh.
And swapping tenders so you could deceive the fat controller,
The
added
missing
Edward.
coach reference.
Are we on trail here? Hey, what's your point? The point is, we all make mistakes and sometimes we do silly things to conceal it, so we won't get into trouble, explained Edward. Maybe the whole situation was an accident and nothing more, finished Thomas. The twins muttered something to each other. It wasn't distinguishable amongst the other engines, but they knew not to disturb them. They finally stopped whispering and crossly looked away from each other. After a long silence, Edward asked for another vote. All in favour of guilty, please whistle.
Okay.
All in favour of not guilty?
There's going to be more.
A complete divide, observed Toby. Percy, do you still believe Diesel is guilty? Well, of course he does. Shut up and let him speak, snapped Thomas. Diesel has played tricks on me before. Remember the time, Duck? He was sent to help us at the harbour. He used to bump me whenever I wanted a chance to rest. Remember? I do indeed, Percy. But that was such a long time ago. Well, has Diesel done such things again? Excluding your recent incident. Percy thought back. Nothing comes to mind. I've had a lot of accidents, but nothing caused by Diesel, admitted Percy. You see? Oh, to be honest, I've made a few mistakes in my time here too, and I've never been told I'd be sent away because of it. That's because you're not a miscreant, Percy.
Those faces Percy's making.
I don't know what that is. So do you think that...
Loved the fact that we're referencing past events right here, and it's all just taking place round a turntable.
Diesel's punishment is too harsh? Well, thinking about it, yes. Yes, I think it is. And do you think he did it? Stop putting words in his mouth, shouted Gordon. Says you who told us that the facts were clear beforehand. Did anyone else see Diesel before the incident? No one had.
No.
So what do you remember seeing at the harbour, Henry? Well, I didn't stop, but I do remember seeing Diesel. We know that. Was there anybody else there? Insisted Donald. Think again, Henry. Think carefully, said Edward. Henry paused for a moment.
Okay, so we're getting...
He tried to recall his movements that day. I remember passing through the harbour yards. I saw Diesel bumping the trucks and what? And I saw Rosie there too.
Rosie?
Yes, that's right. Rosie was in the yards. Trust you to miss a bright pink engine. She could tell us what happened. Rosie was sent to the works earlier today. They're doing a rush job on her so she can be here for the photos in the morning. Actually, she should be here any... Let me in, let me in! Not by the smoke of my chimney, chim, chuckled Toby to himself. Ugh, I nearly dropped my brick arch there. The doors swung open and in came Rosie. Phew, what a storm. No leaks in this shed roof, though. Would you look at this place, eh? She trailed off. All of her friends were looking at her.
Oh.
No one was smiling. After she was informed of what was going on, Edward asked her the all-important question. What do you remember on the day of Percy's accident? The engines waited with anticipation.
What's it going to be?
Well, began Rosie, I was sitting in a siding at the harbour when Diesel arrived. Shunting coal trucks for you isn't how I thought I'd be spending my day, grumbled Diesel.
Oh,
Well,
this is
no,
just like
this
Thomas the
Diesel.
Train Adventures all
I
over
am
again.
very appreciative of your help. Besides, you'd only be shunting elsewhere. How did you damage your buffers anyway? Bill and Ben have been bumping the trucks about when they are bored. One rolled right into me. Driver says my buffers are badly cracked,
Bill and
but I'll
Ben.
need new ones at the works. And I'm apparently the troublesome one. Bill and Ben are reckless. And you're just a wreck, laughed the trucks. Shut up and get in line. Diesel bumped the trucks furiously.
There's Henry going past.
It wasn't long till Diesel had finished shunting and was awaiting further instructions. Presently, Bill and Ben steamed into the yard. There were no trucks for them to take, so they decided to play their game.
Oh no.
Bill found an empty truck and bumped it towards Ben. Heads up, Ben! Shouted Bill. Careful, you two. This is exactly how you put me out of service, scolded Rosie. Lighten up, Rosie. At least you can get some time off work. Yeah, we're only having fun. The twins continued to play their game no matter how much Rosie tried to stop them.
Even Diesel's quite annoyed.
Diesel took no notice.
Oh, he's taking
He had
notice.
wisely decided to stay clear. Then there was trouble. Bill pushed the truck too hard. The train! Cried Diesel.
So that's how he went after it. This is going to be the full story. So there's Diesel chasing after it.
Diesel was panting up behind with every ounce of strength he had. He managed to close the gap, but he was running at full speed. Stay with them, Diesel, shouted his driver. I can't keep up with them, panted Diesel. On, laughed the trucks. You can't catch us. Faster and faster they went. The trucks were beginning to pull away. Diesel tried his hardest, but it was no use. No, he groaned. Up ahead, Percy was waiting at a signal. Look out, shouted Diesel in horror, but it was all in vain.
There's Percy. There's the crash. This is how it all happened.
So Diesel tried to stop the runaway, exclaimed Thomas. Indeed, he ran right after it and didn't stop to think about his own safety, explained Rosie. It was very brave of him.
Wow.
Bill and Ben have got...
So I must say, we have to go back and see. Look at everyone's faces. Look at everyone's faces when they realise what they'd done. They falsely accused him.
So Diesel tried to stop the runaway, exclaimed Thomas. Indeed, he ran right after it and didn't stop to think about his own safety, explained Rosie. It was very brave of him. Bill and Ben have gotten away with it, and poor Diesel is accused of being the culprit. I'll see to it that Bill and Ben get their comeuppance, replied Edward firmly. I tried to tell someone, but no one would believe me. This changes everything. We can't sentence him to exile if he is innocent. The facts are clear now. All in favor of innocent, please whistle.
Everyone now.
We've cleared Diesel's name. Where is he anyway? Oh, I think he's over by the goods shed in the yards. He isn't anymore, said the shedmaster. I've just got word from the signalman. He was told to leave and has already left the yards about an hour ago. Then we must intercept him, cried Edward. The engines frantically steamed out of the sheds in a desperate bid to stop Diesel. Poor Diesel, whispered Percy. What have we done? It was a nightmare. The engines could barely see anything in the storm and would call out to the signalmen in their boxes. Please, they would say, it's an emergency.
Wow.
And so the normal night trains were all set aside to allow them through.
Oh, look, Arthur. Steam team working together.
Finally, in the dull lights under the roof at the workstation, he saw a familiar-looking engine. Diesel, thank goodness you're still here, panted Edward. I've no choice, said Diesel. He won't let me go. You're not going anywhere.
Doc?
Whatever are you engines doing here, called the station master. Old Frank in the box there has been telling me his phone has been ringing non-stop for the last hour about this Diesel. The inspector is on his way. Explain. As Edward told the tale, more engines arrived on the scene, all pleading their case. The station master was a kind man and listened carefully. Right, he said, when they had caught him up to speed.
Okay.
We'd better be quick then. The inspector will be here soon. I'll speak with control to get you back to the new sheds. All of you. All sections of the main line received notice of a special train coming from the works, and for all other trains to be shunted.
Richard.
First came Edward to clear the line, then thunderously came a parade of engines. In the middle of the formation, under escort, was Diesel. It didn't escape his notice that everyone who came to his rescue was a steam engine.
There's the old Tidmouth
By
sheds
morning,
right
the storm had eased to a light rain as the special train arrived. Bear got as close to the sheds as he could, but Gordon, James, and Henry were outside waiting. Keep out! The three engines barred his way. Not this again, came a voice. The fat controller strode up crossly.
Oh, it's the fat controller.
These passengers have come to take your pictures. Why have you... Whatever is the matter, Edward? Please, sir, ask Bear to leave the passengers there until you've had a chance to come in, sir, he frowned.
Oh, what's it going to be?
The fat controller entered the shed and quietly closed the door behind him. The dispute he saw was acrimonious.
What is it?
The inspector was berating every engine around the turntable. His clothes were soaked and he looked like he hadn't slept a wink. No thought to the timetable, no care for procedure or process, calls from every signalman down the line reporting unusual activity, took my bicycle out in the middle of the night, the middle of a thunderstorm to the workstation, and by the time I'd arrived, you'd all cleared off.
Oh.
Ruined my uniform, signalmen colluded and conspired against me to get you back home in your warm little sheds.
Look at him!
Because of
I've never seen an inspector look so furious in my whole entire life. No wonder he just looks so pissed.
Time I'd arrived, you'd all cleared off. Ruined my uniform, signalmen colluded and conspired against me to get you back home in your warm little sheds. All because of him. The fat controller saw instantly what he meant. Parked behind him, Doc was protecting Diesel. He was hissing steam ferociously at the inspector. You said you'd give us until first light to figure out the truth, Percy jeered. But you sent Diesel away during the storm anyway. You didn't have all the facts, scowled Toby. Silence! Sir Topham Hatt left and put me in charge. An engine caused a severe accident. I made the decision to part ways with this troublesome Diesel. Did you really think I was going to let you lot tell me what to do? The Fat Controller had heard enough. Inspector, a word, if you please. The inspector wheeled around, surprised.
Did you see that?
Sir, these engines have mutinied. All out in the middle of the night, traffic Yes, I heard, smiled the Fat Controller. Inspector, I think you've had a long night. Perhaps... Oh, I have, sir, I have. All because of that troublemaker carrying in the corner, that black weasel. On my authority, he must leave. He's on your authority. Well, on my authority...
Did you guys see everyone's faces when the Fat Controller said that? Oh, that inspector really thinks he owes the railway. I've never seen anyone like that.
Well, on my authority, it sounds like perhaps you may have been too hasty in trying to send away an engine on my railway. Now, perhaps over some breakfast we could discuss... No! Shouted the inspector. He stamped over to Doc. Move out of the way at once. I'll drive that wretched thing to the scrapyard myself if I have to move. Doc stood firm. His driver and fireman glared. The engines erupted into a deafening barrage of furious whistles. The Fat Controller sighed. He had tried. He really had. Inspector, he said calmly, this magnificent new shed is railway property, and you must be a member of railway staff to be here. Please leave.
Wow.
The inspector's shoulders twitched. He stood there for a long time, staring right through Doc. Doc stared back. So did Diesel.
Oh, even Diesel.
He finally turned away and walked back to the Fat Controller. These engines broke every rule in the book last night. I'm right about that, Diesel. I know I am. You'll see. And he threw his hat on the ground and left. The big engines came in, leaving Bear waiting anxiously outside.
Wow.
I see before me an array of meddling engines. I do not approve of interference. This is my railway and I give the orders, I give the judgment, and I serve the punishment. However, I am not blind to what you have done. You have saved a fellow locomotive from a malicious prosecution. An act I'm sure was difficult to obtain considering the character that was under scrutiny. I am humbled you stood by, Diesel, and hope your actions will speak on your behalfs to him. Well, sir, I think if it hadn't been for Edward being so level-headed, most of us would have jumped to the wrong conclusion.
Yeah.
Indeed, the Fat Controller considered. Well, we all make mistakes. It's what we learn from them that's the most important of all. Now, are you all ready? I'm sure the enthusiasts are keen to see you all. Goodness knows what they think has been happening inside here. "I'll be on my way then," came a voice. Diesel spoke up for the first time all morning. "The enthusiasts are here to take photos of steam engines. I'd be ruining their pictures." "Not a chance,"
Not a
smiled
chance.
Edward.
Yeah, not a chance. You can't say
Diesel
that.
looked around. All the engines were looking at him, beaming. "This shed is for the Fat Controller's engines," said Henry simply.
Yeah. Here he is.
The enthusiasts were soon buzzing around the shed, taking photographs and looking at all the engines.
Wow.
Everyone was very happy, but the happiest of all was Diesel. When Boko passed by, he hooted and cheered for Edward. "I knew you'd do it,"
Well
he
done.
cried. Edward
Boko.
beamed contentedly. Bill and Ben were reprimanded firmly.
Oh, nice to see him.
They were shut up in their shed for a whole week and barred from operating on the Fat Controller's railway for 3 months.
3 months.
The twins decided it wasn't worth playing their game ever again.
Wow.
Diesel remained on the railway. He never expressed his feelings, nor did he acknowledge the engine's involvement thereafter. But they knew, deep down, he was secretly grateful.
Yeah.
Edward never mentioned that Duck had never whistled for Diesel's innocence in the final vote. He only asked Duck once about it. "I think I thought it was retribution to what he had done to me all those years ago,
Yeah.
when I was sent away. Now it was his turn. But as soon as I heard he'd gone, all that hatred and bitterness vanished. All I could think about was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That inspector was out of order.
That was probably
Diesel
the worst
didn't
inspector I've ever
deserve to be
seen.
sent away. And I'm glad I stopped him." Edward smiled. "You did the right thing, Duck. I am very proud of you."
Looks like Doc's proud of himself as well.
Edward knew that Duck and Diesel would never be friends. But it seemed at long last Duck had finally let the past go. Even so, the whole ordeal had given all the engines a lot to think about. It seems in life, the facts aren't always clear after all.
Yeah. Facts aren't always clear after all. That's it. Oh, is this a little bit of an end credits montage? Wow, what a video this was. I think I've just watched a little bit of the montage right here. These pictures. Oh no, it's just fading to black. What a totally different story that was. Getting nearly everyone together and them all trying to figure out what exactly, how exactly the accident happened. And when Rosie just came in and revealed everything, they all teamed up together and to to what was I going to say? To save Diesel, they did. But oh my god, that inspector is probably the rudest inspector I've ever seen. For a second, I actually thought he was going to get into Diesel. You know what would have been fun was that if he would have got into Diesel and just dragged him away to the smelter's yard. That would have been absolutely cool to see. And don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed the final product, but imagine the inspector get gets into Diesel's cab and just walk away and just decides to drive Duck over to the smell to drive Diesel over to the smelter's yard with Duck push with him pushing Duck in the process. That would have been epic to see if the yard manager manages to what was I going to say? What was I going to say? Would go into Diesel's cab and just drive him off to the scrapyard himself, and everyone chases after him. That would have been actually cool. But the whole Steam team getting together, that is something especially Rosie, that is something I was not expecting to see right there. If that inspector said that to me, I would punch him. I would literally punch him in the face. I would, and and have and have him and have tell him where to go. But wow, things got really personal right there, and I'm really glad the Steam engines got together and prove Diesel's innocence when the other Diesels couldn't stand up to the inspector. That inspector was probably the most rude, stuck-up one I've ever seen. But Bill and Ben, wow, their punishment literally slapped them in the face right there with that punishment. They got with the right there. I mean, hopefully they would have learned their lesson with their silly game right there. Wow, Carson, David, and everyone else. This was that I could see how much passion went into this story. What a story it was! The whole Steam team getting together and trying to work out what exactly happened, and it just and then proven to be right thanks to Rosie, as you can see right there, and them all teaming up together. But oh my god, that inspector, for his face, he was literally shouting everyone to everyone was just extraordinary. And when the Fat Controller said my authority, they literally all their jaws dropped. The Fat Controller literally told the inspector where to go without saying anything rude to him. That was incredible, incredible. Like half the time I showed no reaction because I was like, what on earth is going on? Wow, I've literally got nothing else to say. Got nothing else to say with this video other than what a fantastic video it was. Highly worth the wait it was, Carson. This was truly amazing. It was. I mean, I can't wait to see what comes out of the video workshop in 2025. I do hope there'll be some slightly more videos at a slightly more frequency next year, Carson, because it is the 80th anniversary and it would make sense for you to do more stories throughout the 80th anniversary to really celebrate the trueness of this franchise right here. So, yeah, I really hope there's more videos, and this video was a wild ride it was. Oh, how I wish that all these updated models were released on Sodor workshops. Then that way you guys could compete with the Southern Industries, who seem to be releasing models, making models public week after month after month after month. So for Video Workshop, you better watch out. The Southern Industry, you're still proving your reputation on top, but Southern Industry is really coming at you right there. So I strongly recommend you start releasing models more publicly, or else you'll lose your reputation, you will. You can always hear my previous Thomas reactions whenever it's an audio story of train adaptation. I'll have a playlist up in the top right corner of your screen right now. I better get out of here because it is getting quite late. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button for me. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this video I reacted to. Also know in the comments down below what other videos you want me to react to next. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok. Links to both of them will be in the description down below. Share this video, subscribe if you're new here, ring that bell to get notified when I upload new videos on my personal community tab. I'll see you all in the next one.